Hey Notion, my name's ATRIP,
I'm Can-BU.
and today we're going to talk about our brand new single, Ocean.
Morning, mate.
My guy,
That was good.
are you good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, how you been?
Been all right, man. How's things been? How's you been busy? Wait, you're going to America soon, right?
I'm going next month.
Jeez, how you feeling?
Oh, excited.
Yeah, how's it been with the release as well? How's the reception been?
Oh mate, it's been so good. It's
Yeah.
been so good, but also like weirdly, yeah, just intense. You know what I mean? But like I only realized how intense it was after it came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those days afterwards when like the whole pressure kind of like falls off.
Yeah.
Like obviously ecstasy and like super happy, but
Yeah.
also intense. Intense.
I feel like you knew it was intense though, because I remember speaking to you like during when you were trying to wrap it up. It was kind of like full steam.
For sure.
So, yeah. But then I think you probably realized just how much it was.
Because you're in just go mode,
Yeah, tunnel vision.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's good,
You
man.
ignore the stress and obviously just swallow that.
Yeah. Nice.
Obviously, big moment of the tape.
Yeah, Ocean. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I didn't expect it to be that big, but you just never know.
You never know.
Again, I guess that probably, that leads into like the origin of the track and like where it comes from, and like when you first played me that demo, and when I first heard it, and why I wanted to do it. When it comes from a place of just like trying to be honest and bring like humility into music and rap and hip hop and like the crossover of that, you don't really know how it's going to be received. So yeah, for it to be received the way it was, I was like, yeah, I mean, it feels good, but it's never about that. When I was jumped in the studio and I just freestyled, I was just trying to get stuff off my chest. So yeah, when you say how you're feeling and it resonates with people, like there's no other feeling like that really. So yeah, it's been good. Big moment, man. Big moment. And I'm glad it's on this like sensational tape. And the last single was sick as well.
Yeah.
Big fan of that one,
Appreciate it.
You know I am anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting moment because obviously we've technically worked on quite a lot of music.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the music that we've made there was a couple of obvious choices. I think like when a rapper and an electronic artist like come together, it's like there is, especially here in the UK, there's obviously such a long history of like MC culture and whatnot. So there's so many obvious kind of choices and routes that people go down. So like obviously a lot of two-step, D&B, jungle. And what did we do if you think back? Like our first demos that we worked on together, there was that jungle thing.
Yeah, do you have a jungle?
Jump out,
Yeah.
which is like it's like 150 BPM,
Yeah,
but it's like a
two-step.
breaksy sort of like.
Yeah.
And then there was that other one that was garage, basically.
Yeah, the garage one. Yeah.
And I think like there's a reason, I said this to you once, there's a reason why those never got finished. And I think that day when we made Ocean, we had 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left. It was like 5 whatever, the studio was shutting at 6.
Yeah.
And I played it to you. I was just like, give this a go.
Yeah.
Because as we always do when we hang out, it was a lot of yapping. It was a lot of kind of like boy therapy for most of it.
Yeah.
Then recording some bars over a garage beat. Then more boy therapy.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I guess I played you that track because I was like, I think that, you in particular have a level of honesty in your delivery and in your lyrics that is perfectly matched with rap in its kind of like in the amounts of things that you have to say.
Yeah.
But at the same time has a depth and a level of honesty that I don't think you get a lot from rappers, and like from a lot of other rappers that I work with, there's like
a wall.
There's a wall and barriers, you know what I mean? And not even a wall, more a facade that's like painted with all sorts of like egos and like this and, whatever. Whereas with you, that's not the case. And I thought like playing you that track was a nice gateway. And I guess, what was it about that demo originally in the room? Because you just up and left. Like you just up and went into the booth and just started.
Yeah.
You didn't even say anything. You just walked in. So what was it about that track, that demo that made you go, okay, something's happening here?
Yeah. I guess it was probably just a springboard of like coming off of the back of like a few of my other releases, like obviously the John Hopkins thing and High. I think for me, being in that process and allowing myself to be honest as well, that was like a turning point for me in music and my releases. So to then be able to have that opportunity again, I guess when you played it, even though we'd been working on all of this two-step stuff, like we know I can rap, we know I got bars, and it's so easy to do that. So when I hear something, I'm like, okay, this is gonna have to bring out a different side of me. I'm gonna have to do something a little bit different here. That's really where I'm trying to put myself in positions like that, where it's like an actual challenge, or maybe not a challenge, but just something different and see how it goes. So yeah, even though, we'd sat there, worked on a few ideas, I don't know, playing that was just like, all right, let's just go see what happens, you know, and then it just turned into this crazy thing. Like, and then the next time I heard it, you'd added some other different bits to it. And then that just grew my sort of love for the track. And then we went back, I think we had another session at that building that was not the funnest place to make music. And then, I'm not gonna say names, but, and then I think that session, I don't think we got much done. Maybe wrote like 2 or 3 lines to that track and then worked on a couple other things, just wasn't feeling it. And that's fine. So I think for us as well in that track, it's like at that point, we've already sort of created this sort of space where we can just do whatever we want. So there was no pressure for me to like get into that and just put my heart into it and see how it goes. And then naturally, I think it just grew. It's hard to put into words because it is so organic that like, it's more of a process of it happening rather than being like, right, this is the idea I've had, I want to put this down. Like we just don't work like that. We just kind of just do it as we go along and it came out great. So yeah.
The other thing, by the way, that I will say is like it needed those other sessions for kind of like pretty much just honing in.
Yeah.
But the whole foundation was all in the first take. And I think that's something you can't replicate either. That's something you can't, like, you know, how many times did we sit in the studio and we would listen to it over and over and over again in the follow-up sessions. And it was like trying to get back to that kind of like headspace. And it's so hard because it was so natural and organic.
I think that's it as well. Sorry to cut you off. It's like, I think it's like, when I went to that session the second time after doing the first one, it was like I came into it in a mindset that like, I'm gonna write some shit today, I'm gonna finish this track, and this is how it's gonna sound. And that just took away all of the feeling completely. And that's why we probably didn't get much done. Coming into that second session, I had a mentality to be like, I'm gonna finish this track, and that just didn't work.
Because it's not just bars.
No, it's not. So it's like you said, it's that organic feeling that we had in the first session. That's what you're trying to tap into. So actually, I think that what worked eventually further down the line was actually just listening to the first session and just taking all the best bits from that. And then just changing a few little things that didn't really make sense because I was freestyling and trying to make sense of what was going on in my head. And that was all that we really did with the rest of the track. So yeah, it was
100%.
great. Yeah.
What I love about it also, there's something I only noticed way later down the line, is that your delivery of like, you know, kind of like the way that track spoke to you is kind of, the reason I love it is because electronic music to me is super visual. Like, because obviously a lot of electronic music is, you know, might be ethereal, you know, might not have words. And so I think there's a level, like there's a certain kind of like color that electronic music can have sometimes. And it's very visual for me, like, especially that type of electronic music. You mentioned you worked with John Hopkins before, which is incredible, by the way.
Cheers.
I mean, but you know this, I've told you this so many times. But I'm like, that is what like I connected with so much, and what you kind of did to that track is like, that's exactly how I consume electronic music. That's how I feel about electronic music and see it as well. And I love that it's like, that's why we call it Ocean, because it takes you somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that like Ocean is it's a track that's supposed to take you on a journey, and it takes you somewhere, and that's sort of how you ingest and how electronic music makes you feel. How is it that you hope that your music makes other people feel, or like what's your why?
The thing is, like, I you get asked questions along those lines quite a lot, and like the thing is, I always say to people, like, I don't have a specific intention that I want people, like, I don't want to cause a specific reaction for you with this track, you know what I mean? Because I think the beauty is that you make something that causes something in you. And I think, when you're in your creative process, you're in the middle of creating, and suddenly you hit that moment where it's like, oh, there's a bit of magic here. You elaborate on that idea a little bit. You try to just funnel that energy and like bring it in. And then, I think that the product at the end of the day, whatever comes of that, will make me feel a certain way, but it will also make you feel a totally different way. And so I think this whole idea of like creating art with a very specific kind of purpose, for me, is like an impossible job and like a completely like utopian ambition, I think. And it's a bit naive because not everyone's going to like what you make.
Yeah.
And B, it's like, I love exposing people to like the music that I make and just seeing where it takes them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, as long as they feel something, you know, it's like, I don't have a specific feeling that I want people to kind of experience. I just want them to feel something.
Yeah.
And even if that's negative, you know what I mean? Even if they go, you know what, like, this is not for me, but it's like, I think music is, you know, especially electronic music, that's what I love about electronic music, is that it's not as literal as, you know, a lot of kind of like music that's sung, for example, is that it's, you have that freedom to just go and make of it whatever you want, you know? And I would never force a specific purpose onto someone. I'd rather make something and let, you know, and then just indulge and have a conversation with people and find that out myself, because that's a learning process for me too.
Definitely. No, I can definitely, that resonates for me. I feel like, that's why so many people, I mean, I feel like every time I do something different, people are like, oh, wait, what's he doing now? It's like, but I'm not making it for anyone else. I'm making it for myself. But I mean, the goal is to, you know, eventually make something that's like a cohesive album, but not even necessarily in sonics. I think just like bringing a certain part of myself to a project and how that sounds like on a sonic soundscape. I don't know what that looks like, but I think it'll be nice for it to be in a body of work, because I think every time I do a single, people think it's like a new direction, but it's like, no, it's just another plate on my armor. It's just another like paint in my palette box, you know. So
that's exactly how I approach this tape. Like, you know, because obviously it's many singles that came out over the last year, but I think for me the body is essentially just a compilation of moments from my time as an artist in the last, you know, whatever 18 months that this body of work was in the works for. So it's like, I don't really look at it as you said, they're all connected, because they all, you know, happened in a creative period that was from this time to this time. And I think, like, for me personally, I would only advise, because for me, like, releasing that kind of like, you know, having that moment where you go, okay, this is it, this is the body, people immediately then get it, you know. People immediately go, okay, cool, this is that moment on this is that. Obviously, you know, all the artwork was the same, so people knew that it was leading somewhere from the second single, you know. So it's like, people knew that this was part of something bigger, and that allows you to just kind of branch out and like have fun with it, you know. And I think I've noticed that people give you so much more freedom then. So like, I would 100% recommend it, especially as someone who's so prolific and so versatile like you are, obviously. So, obviously, both you and I grew up in London. Haven of underground music, breaks, bass, and clubs, and the rave. What was you growing up? What was your first point of contact with electronic music, and what made you stay and fall in love with it?
I guess probably, I think it's just being born here. I was born in Nottingham as well, and like, I mean, I was a big garage scene in Nottingham for a long time. Like, that was still going in like sort of late noughties. That was still a thing up there. I remember like going up there and putting songs on my PSP. So it's just something that's always been around. Obviously, coming from a family of like, my dad was a drummer in a reggae band and stuff like that. I've always been surrounded by music, and my dad always bought like whatever CDs. Like, parental guidance wasn't really a thing in my house. So whenever we go to like Woolworths or HMV, if I saw something I liked, he would always get it for me. So, or if he wouldn't get it for me, then I would like, you remember you can put the CDs in there and actually like listen to it and get like a preview. So
I remember,
that was like, those were my entry points into like electronic music. And then, you get older, you start going raves. My sister used to be into like deep house. She would like come home with the CDs. This is like when they used to give out CDs at raves. And then she would put on the music and then like tidy the house to like some deep house on a Sunday or whatever. And then I was into drum and bass, and then you go jump up, and then it's just loads of different growth. But I remember like the Demon Days album from Gorillaz, that was like, that had some crazy stuff in there. Like I couldn't really put that in a box. It wasn't really like indie, because it had some sort of dancey tunes in there. Just the maddest beats. I can't remember what the one is. It's like all alone. It's just like, mad drum breaks in there. And that was cool. It's just, I feel like just growing up in London has been like the biggest influence for me.
It's inevitable here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, especially once you like it and you understand it and you see the freedom and you go to a rave and like, the way people treat each other and stuff like that, you start to realize like electronic music is a bit more than just like partying and all this silly stuff and things that come with it. Like actually there's like a whole community and unity of people there that I've never felt going to any other place. Like you wouldn't feel that going to your standard bar or club, you wouldn't get that sort of like community. So that was a thing that kind of kept me staying in that lane. And across all my projects since I've been releasing music professionally, there's always been some dance music in there. So yeah, I'm not planning to leave it anytime soon. And I think less is more. You know, rapping, you use a lot of words, but like with dance music, you kind of have to like get a moment in there with only a couple of words. And that's something that I'm trying to like master. It's like, how do I say so much without that much? You know, like how do you say a lot without saying a lot?
100%.
And I do that over some crazy beats. So yeah, that's what my journey is with it. And I'm just gonna keep trying to achieve that. So yeah.
Always pushing.